Welcome back to another edition of the Gridiron Review. Alongside Bill Wagner, I'm Pete Medhurst. Great to have you with us. Great 10-under action this week between Old Mill and Brooklyn Park. Severn remaining undefeated at the 7U level. That group's been playing good football all season long. Some couple of good regular season games still to go. That 7U regular season ends a little bit earlier than everybody else's. So go to the Arundel County standings page and see what remaining schedule there is. That 7U group's really been a fun group to watch. Seen it a couple times early in the season. We've got some really good races shaping up here as we turn the calendar to the month of October. And of course, by the end of October, we'll be into playoff play.
I was just going to say, it's not too early to speak about playoffs.
Championship Day, November 9th this year, 9th and 10th that weekend, 8, 9, and 10. So that's good. Navy has a bye. Bill and I might actually be able to be there.
Highlights.
To be
Is it
pretty
in
good.
Northeast again?
I think Severna Park.
Okay. We're at the new stadium.
New digs at
How
Severna
about
Park.
that? We like that.
So, interesting note, though, I want to pass along. Saw this actually this morning before we started taping. Martinsburg, West Virginia. The youth football program out there is called the TCYFL. The referees have finally had enough. Enough of the parents, enough of the coaches. They said the final straw was the disrespect coming on the field from the players, profanity.
We're learning it from their coaches and
potential, hey, I'm in your grill, I didn't like your call type stuff. And you know what they did? So we're done. Adios. We are done. We're off the field. They don't have any officials now, and the league is trying to figure out what to do with the remainder of their season. You and I talk about this all the time. And I
can't play the game without officials.
I simply say this, as someone who's officiated other sports for 34 years, I've been pretty lucky to be pretty decent as a basketball and softball official. So I don't really hear a lot of the outlandish stuff. I hear the outlandish parents toward their kids, and every now and then, if you call them out on strikes, they feel like you've cost their kid a college scholarship. But how many times has Nick Saban been thrown out of a football game?
I think he said the one time it happened was the first time in 25 years.
It was like high school or something.
Yeah.
Has Kenny Amadalolo ever been thrown out of a game at Navy?
Nope.
Okay. My high school coach, Buck Gardner, never got thrown out of a game. I've never seen a high school coach get thrown out of a game. I've never seen John Harbaugh get thrown out of a game. I think Jay Gruden, if he could have been thrown out of a game yesterday, probably would have for the Redskins. But I simply ask you, if they don't do it, and this is where some parents and everybody gets guilty. They think the rules they're watching on TV are saying that they're seeing out on the field, so they argue a bad point. But if they're not getting thrown out on the college, high school, and pro level, why are we getting so many people thrown out on the youth level? I don't understand it. I don't.
Because they don't understand that you can disagree with official and you can make a point. They go farther than that. They get personal, they get threatening, and it's just outrageous. They don't know how to have the proper interplay with officials. The officials will listen to you. If you have a point, they'll listen to you, and they may even explain why the call was made. But it comes down to respect, the word you used, and there's too much disrespect going on.
Every time I referee a basketball game or umpire a fast-pitch softball game, I don't say to that coach that got his player thrown out, well, that was a stupid decision to have your player steal. Why'd you do that? As officials, we don't do that.
Yep.
Okay? We don't. If you're running outside against a team that's got speed on defense and they just string your play out to the sideline, we don't go, that was a stupid play to try to run outside against that team that's got speed on the outside. Okay? I mean, just think about it from the other side before, because we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. We're getting down toward playoff time. Everybody gets a little emotional and excited.
Games are important.
Because they want that little $5.99 plastic trophy just so they can say, look at Bobby. He got the $5.99 trophy. He's 9 years old. By the time he's 13, he's playing in the band and not on the football field. It happens, people. It's reality. Just enjoy the moment, okay?
That's what youth sports are supposed to be about, having fun and learning.
Talk about enjoying the moment right now. Two football teams I want to point out here to start with. Archbishop Spalding, and they have started to, it's quite, everybody, got talking about St. Francis and the national schedule they play. Well, Archbishop Spalding hasn't exactly played every game around here in the Baltimore, Anne Arundel County, D.C. area here. They have enjoyed themselves so far during the course of the season here as we start to get into MIAA conference action. with a lot of those programs. But Kyle Schmidt's club right now, Bill, really doing a lot of terrific things. And as we talk about all the time, are you developing players and where are they going to college? We've seen a number of them come to the Naval Academy, and we're starting to see a number of them end up in a lot of places. And he's got more now that are obviously hot commodities to colleges recruiting them.
There's a really good player at Temple that's from Archbishop Spalding. Jayon Venerable, who's our outstanding running back and cornerback, is already committed to Maryland, was the very first 2021 class to commit to the University of Maryland. Austin Tudis is Coach Kyle Schmidt told me that he thinks he's a Power 5 type prospect. He had offer from Temple when he was only a sophomore, and now he's getting attention from a higher level than that, Power 5 conference schools. Spalding is a legit program. Kyle Schmidt's done a great job. Kyle played football at Maryland, was an offensive lineman, came from Pennsylvania, so he knows what big-time football is about, and he's got a terrific staff. I mean, when you've got Chuck Markowitz, the all-time winningest coach in Anne Arundel County, as your assistant coach. He's got Pat Morrison, some other outstanding coaches over there. They've got a great staff. That program they are really, really taking it to another level. And, I would say that right now they and Mount St. Joseph are probably the early favorites in the MIAA conference.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And obviously, Jameer Carter, guy's going to, he's a UVA
Virginia,
commit
yep.
As a two-way lineman. On the public school side, there's no question after this week, we are tracking the South River Seahawks, and then everybody else is starting to fall in line behind them. One thing they've not been able to do, Bill, is go to Arundel and win. Finally got that monkey off their back there, winning for the first time there since 2005.
Yeah.
And while the last couple of weeks it's been predominantly David Faust doing it through the air, this week it was Delvin Johnson and a power running game as he ran for 196 yards, three touchdowns, as Arundel scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter to get within one score, but 30-22, and by far so far, I think the most impressive win for the Seahawks, going on the road and winning at a place that really has not been kind to them in the past.
Right. Well, it's just an absolutely huge win for the psyche of the program and tells them they are legit. I think this all started last year when they upset Broadneck in the playoffs. An undefeated Broadneck team in South River sent them out of the playoffs and eliminated them. Coach has done a fantastic job. Ed Dolch comes from a coaching family. His uncle, I believe, was Dave Dolch, the great coach, Bowie State, Morningstar College, etc. But Dolch family, a lot of Dolch family members have been coaches, were athletes. He comes from a great lineage family that was originally from Pasadena. But they just are playing good football in all areas. And at this point, you start to think, Coach Dolch would never want to hear us say this.
No, it's only 4 games in.
I know, but you got to think this
that.
could be the possibility for the first undefeated season in South River history. They've never had an undefeated season.
They've had some good clubs there, too. My boys Mitch Suplee, Ray Kingsfield, all those dudes, Mike Molden.
They've had some 9-1s and some 8-2s. But
good clubs.
If they were to go undefeated, I mean, right now, I think they still got Broadneck on the docket.
Yep.
There's some other good teams out there, but they have shown early that they are legit.
Dominic Mirak had 4 sacks for the Seahawks defense in that contest.
We should mention one good thing for Arundel. They got their star quarterback back, Austin Sly. He had suffered an injury in week 1 and had not played since he returned and threw for 300 yards. So good for Arundel to get Austin back.
Speaking of Broadneck, Josh Ehrlich and company, 15 of 25, 224, 2 touchdowns. Davion White with 130 and 2 scores as they beat Annapolis by a score of 42-0. Panthers dropped to 1-3. And I think even though they lose here, I think we got to give a tip of the cap to North County. Things are changing.
Absolutely.
Things are changing up there in North County, and that's good to see.
They're much better, much
Old
improved.
Mill wins 15-14. Trey Thomas scored on a 28-yard touchdown pass. Joey Graves with a 6-yard touchdown run. But
when's the last time you could see Old Mill beating North County 15-14, 1 point?
Good thing, good to see that. I mean, obviously it's a 4A school. You got 4A schools. You got people in the building. And as long as they're eligible to come out, you got athletes when you got a 4A school. You just got enough of them in there. You got to get them to come out. And I think, making football something that's cool again and having some success is going to get more of those kids to come out. It's a great job and a losing cause there by North County. A great job. I mean, Old Mill's done a solid job, Bill, after getting blown out that first week. That thing could have gotten off the rails pretty quickly there after that first week. They've stepped up here and come back and played fairly well since then.
After week 1, we had people on social media asking for Chad McCormick to be fired. And it looks like he can coach after all. He's ready.
Fire the high school coach.
Yeah, outrage. After they lost to a very good program.
Right.
It's not like they lost to a game they weren't supposed to lose or something like that. But he's righted the ship, and they've won some games.
3-1 now on the season for the Patriots. Meade beat Severna Park 33-6. The Mustangs, even their record now at 2-2. Cade Goins and Trey Holt both returned interceptions for touchdowns in that game. Jadiel Mendoza had 2 touchdowns to lead the Mustangs. He also had a 37-yard run. Spalding, by the way, their game this week was against Malvern Prep of Pennsylvania. That's what I'm saying.
Usually a pretty good program.
Yeah, and they're not playing.
They laid it on.
They're playing a lot of teams. They beat them by a score of 43-12. Shamir Smith had 196 yards on 24 carries in that contest. Alex Wicks continues to build a pretty good resume, Bill. A little early for the Rhodes Trophy discussion.
I was going to say, he's
little early, but
he's in that picture.
He's in the picture. There's no doubt about it. Guys like him, Delvon Johnson, David Faust at South River. I mean, we're starting to see some candidates start to, Austin Tudis at Spalding. We're starting to see some guys start to get into that. Okay, we need to start watching these players. But Wicks, 32 carries, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dane Blair had 99 yards rushing. They beat Curley 36-7. But
it's a big win within their conference.
Alex Wicks is a workhorse. Dude got the ball 32 times.
I venture to say that Alex Wicks probably has close to 800 yards rushing now. He has been consistently in the 130, 165, 170 range, and he's having a heck of a season. And he is definitely one of the top backs in Anne Arundel County.
All right, going back to a story we've talked about earlier this year here on the Gridiron Review. Kayla Alexander is kicking for the Northeast football team because her club soccer team made her sign a contract that she couldn't play with her high school soccer team. One of the most idiotic things I've ever seen.
Outrageous.
However, she said, you know what? I'm going to use this to still participate with my school. Mm-hmm. Way to go, Kayla. She's kicking for the football team. She made
doing a good job of it.
42-yard field goal, friends. 37-26 victory over the Gophers. I think this is an incredible story. I don't think we can talk about it enough. I don't think we can write about it enough, because told that she can't play with one team at her school, she said, you know what? I'm going to go one better, and I'm still going to get to participate with the kids at my school.
And earn a varsity letter.
And earn a varsity letter. This is an unbelievable story developing here in Pasadena with Kayla Alexander in Northeast.
And a great part about it, and it's mentioned in the article, we had Catherine Fominique covered that game. They beat Glen Burnie pretty soundly. But the way that Coach Brian Boblitz and the players have handled it, they are treating her with total respect. She says in the article, she's quoted saying, my teammates have been great. They've been so supportive of me. It really is a neat story on a lot of levels. And, I hate to put this out there, but, they pick an all-county kicker, and if she keeps kicking the way she is, she's going to be in line to be considered for the all-county kicker spot.
Been doing well with extra points. That was her first field goal of the season for Northeast, so congratulations to Kayla. Tylee Coleman, 62 yards and a touchdown for the Eagles in the contest as they win it by a score of 37-26. And as Coach Boblitz said, Tyleek's one of those guys that pretty much does everything for Northeast. And their mark now evens up at 2-2 on the season. So another good week of high school football results. And obviously now this is when we start to get to the middle part of the campaign, Bill, where, as we said, teams start to separate themselves a little bit. Obviously now, new playoff format, so we're going to have a lot more teams that are vying for spots in playoffs, and that's good. I think the more teams that participate, the better, because we have teams in other regions that have bad records that essentially take spots from teams in other regions that have good records. So this is a way for those teams that finish 8-2 but are fifth, per se, in a very tough region. They'll still get a chance to participate in postseason play and have a chance to win state championship.
I want to do a little quick public service announcement. Coaches, please report your results. We have some schools that don't seem to want to report their results. It's very simple. Send us an email. You have Huddle or the various programs, Max Prep's put together a box score for you. All you have to do is send us the box score. We'll figure it out. It's just disheartening when you pick up the paper and you don't even know who won certain games because they haven't been reported. We're also trying to compile high school stats at this time. We want to publish some stats, and early on, Bob Hoke, our high school sports editor, reached out to coaches and asked for stats and didn't get a very good response. So please cooperate with the newspaper. We're here to help you and your kids.
All right, when we come back, Maryland, Penn State.
Woo! Glad I didn't go to that. I was going to go to that game.
I know you're a Maryland backer.
Oh.
Good thing you were in Memphis the night before. Probably talked you out of it. We'll talk about the colleges when we return. This is the Gridiron Review. Welcome back to the Gridiron Review. Bill, we were in Memphis on Thursday, which means Rendezvous Barbecue in the press box.
The best.
Which, of course, Memphis is still one of the best press box foods in the American Athletic Conference. You and I go to each and every year. It was delicious. The brisket, the pit chicken, the pit turkey,
sausage.
You name it. Sausage was all good. It was all delicious. It was a delicious first half for the Navy midshipmen. Unfortunately, a little bit too much Memphis in the second half. The Tigers rose to the occasion, beat the Mids by a score of 35-23. But so far for the Mids, all in all, 2-1 now through 3 games. Now they're actually going to get into a rhythm of playing every Saturday. They have played choppy, play 1 week,
2
off
buys.
1 week, then 12 days off. So now they're going to kind of get into a rhythm. Oh, by the way, it's the Air Force Falcons coming up this week. So for the Mids, got to put this one quickly behind them. But I think having a couple of extra days, probably a good thing here, but it's a very physical game against the Tigers on Thursday night.
Well, no shame losing to Memphis, which was picked a three-peat in the West Division of the American Athletic Conference. A good program, well coached. Mike Norvell's an outstanding coach, and they're a very talented team. We saw some good athletes out on the field. That being said, Navy had this game in control, Pete. Malcolm Perry, the quarterback, did an excellent job of moving the midshipmen down the field. One pass that he threw in the end zone, was it to
Chance Warren?
Chance Warren, who's a converted slot back and doing a good job at receiver. That was as good a pass as you'll ever see.
Yep.
I mean, that was dropped in there in the only window that it could possibly go. It shows Malcolm's development as a quarterback. Navy's up 20-7, and as you and I talked about off air, Pete, the touchdown return, kickoff return for a touchdown is just devastating.
Yeah, and special teams plays really change the momentum in games. The Mids had Memphis back on their heels, and the kickoff return, unfortunately, got Memphis going. And
they missed a field goal.
Mids missed a field goal just outside the post to end the half. So instead of really putting some pressure on Memphis at that point probably felt, man, we're right back in this thing.
Right.
We got some momentum. They got the ball to start the second half, and they took over from there. Meanwhile, in College Park, ripe environment. It was fantastic. Maryland had a lot of folks back out there. Probably hadn't been out to a Maryland game in a long time.
Packed stadium.
And
unfortunately, turned out to a wipeout.
Unfortunately, here, and I believe this to be true, the results of the first 2 games of Maryland's season sent the expectations unrealistically into the stratosphere by some of their fans. And
they're in a rebuild, and to suggest that
Penn State's just really good.
Right, well, Penn State's on another level than Maryland, and a lot of other Big Ten programs are. Maryland is still rebuilding. Mike Locksley, they didn't just fire a coach for no reason. Mike Locksley's got some work to do, and I agree. They beat really. Howard was the walkover game. They beat Syracuse. We don't know how good Syracuse is. They were ranked, but that win had people declaring that Maryland is back, that they're going to contend for Big Ten championships. It was really quite overboard, and were they brought down to earth. What a whooping that was, 59-0. And James Franklin was not going to take it easy on the Maryland Terps. Not a program that said he was the coach in waiting and reneged on that commitment. No, he was going to lay it on.
Worth noting that the people responsible for him not getting that job are still not there, but as long as he sees that turtle shell, he can get that hammer out and go pow, pow, pow. Eventually, I still believe Coach Locke's going to get there.
I do.
But
it's going to take time.
But enough of the Tyrell Pegram experiment at quarterback. Can't play. Can't play at that level. Can't play. Josh Jackson's got to stay in the game. I don't care how bad he's struggling at that point.
He struggled mightily.
He
did not play
was,
well.
But Tyrell Pegram wasn't doing any better.
No.
Time. If you got to play 2, that means you don't have 1.
Well, and that's one of the things Maryland needs to do. If you're going to be a big-time program, you got to have big-time quarterbacks. And the truth of the matter is, they
beat Florida State out for a guy, so that's encouraging.
Yeah. Well, maybe that guy ought to get a chance sometime.
Well, he'll be here next year.
Right.
It's in recruiting.
Well, though they got one that they got from Louisiana, who's in the program now, who's pretty legit. I know they want to redshirt
that guy.
him. Yep.
Like that guy too.
Lance Legendre.
Fighting a red shirt is always the toughest thing for coaches. But you know what though? Remember, he can play 4 games.
Yeah.
He can play 4 games.
That's what the
stick him in a game?
Houston quarterback did.
You got to stick him in a game. Put him in instead of Piggy. Just don't play him in more than 4 games.
That's right.
Really how it works. Coming up, talk about the pros. Bad days for the Redskins and the Ravens. I am fully content if the Redskins go 0-16 at this point. We'll talk about that when we return on the Gridiron Review. Welcome back. Ravens entertain the Cleveland Browns in Baltimore. Browns, over the first couple of weeks of the season, not necessarily playing to the hype that they had gotten early in the campaign and before the season started. Starting to put it together now, though, even their record at 2-2 as they smack the Ravens around by a score of 40-25. Let me see right here. Oh, wait a minute. There's another Browns receiver running through the Ravens secondary.
Wide open. Was it Jarvis Landry or Odell Beckham?
Didn't matter. Could have been me or you the other day.
Well, the Ravens defense, what has happened to the vaunted Ravens defense? Just struggled mightily. Nick Chubb looked like Jim Brown and running wild. It'd be a big day for Nick Chubb. Baker Mayfield was picking apart the secondary. They got serious problems on the back end. It was supposed to be one of the best secondaries in all of football, and it certainly does not look that way at the moment. I mean, they're putting up enough points. Their offense is not the issue for the Ravens, which, boy, is that a change. It used to be the defense was outstanding, and the offense, boy, if they could just get 4 Justin Tucker field goals, they'd win the game. Now they just can't stop anybody.
I'll settle for Kevin Mack or Ernest Biner. Comparing Nick Chubb to Jim Brown, that's pretty heady company right there. But I know what you're saying.
He looked like
88 yards on a touchdown run. Certainly looks the part there. It's simple with the Ravens. Can't rush the passer. And if you can't rush the passer, those guys have time to throw. They're going to pick you apart, especially with those receivers that they have. And defensive line is not stopping the run. They're not allowing linebackers to be able to flow to the football, and that's a problem. And right now you go up against a team that's got the kind of skill people that the Browns have. You know, you got to remember Freddie Kitchens is learning on the job there in Cleveland too. As he starts to figure it out, they're going to get better. The weapons are just too good right now in Cleveland. Meanwhile, at MetLife Stadium, I'm not sure what that was on Sunday. Had to watch it via DVR because my daughter was playing in a tournament up at Bachman. And watching it on tape, the good thing is you can just fast forward through the commercials and all the bad stuff. Right. Dwayne Haskins got in, did not look great.
You don't think he's here to stay?
Well, I think he's here. Look, the guy's running scout team during the week, so he's not even running the Redskins offense during the week. NFL teams you don't have a lot of time to practice, so the number ones get all the reps. But Case Keenum had a foot problem, so Haskins came in. Jay Gruden was hoping to find a little lightning in a bottle, and all he found was a broken bottle on the side of the road. 24-3, Giants get the victory there. And right now, if this team wins 3 games, I'm shocked.
Well, this morning on the radio station, were they calling for Jay Gruden's head, the fans?
Look, the biggest thing right now, they call for Bruce Allen. It goes
all the way to the top.
In my 5 o'clock hour, I had a passionate plea to Dan Snyder. Look, we know you got the money. We love that you spend the money. A lot of times the owner gets crucified because he doesn't spend money.
Oh, yeah,
Dan Snyder will spend the money.
He needs to spend wisely.
But here's what I'm saying. If you got a lot of money, as my boy Michael Douglas looked into the camera in a movie and said, greed is good. You should want to make more money. You can't make money. Nobody's coming to your stadium the rest of the year. Nobody.
No.
You got
the other team's fans.
Yeah, but that's not okay. They buy beer and stuff too, but still, that's not going to make you more money. No. You need to find out how you can maximize and make more cash. How do you make more cash? Have a quality football operation, win games, pack your stadium, and then the receipts at the end of the day, you look at them, you go, ooh, yeah. I like that. Right now, the Redskins that stadium is going to be abandoned for the rest of the year. You can go to Landover and probably find tickets for $5 on Sunday afternoons coming up. It's a shame. They got guys that care. Chris Thompson, I think that dude is a pro. He cares more than anybody. He's there. He's backing up his teammates. backing up his coach, desperately wants to win. Dwayne Haskins said, I've never lost.
Right? No, he hasn't.
Dude didn't lose much at Ohio State.
Or in the high school
Didn't
ranks.
lose much at Bucs.
No.
So losing to him is foreign. He's probably lost as many games now as he did in his entire Bucs and Ohio State career. Almost. 0-4 right now for the Redskins. Doesn't get any better. Mr. Belichick comes to town next week with the New England Patriots.
Who are undefeated.
They are undefeated. They survived Buffalo by a score of 16-10. That'll do it for us this week. As always, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Hope you enjoyed the highlights that we showed you during the course of the show as well. You can make that happen each and every week. If you've got highlights of your youth or high school games out there, we'd love to show them here on the Gridiron Review. For Mark, for Bill, I'm Pete. We'll see you next week on the Gridiron Review.